All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Sarabjit Kaur and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to unveil Statue of Peace to mark 151st birth anniversary celebrations of Jain Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh Sureshwarji Maharaj today. Nitish Kumar to be sworn in as Chief Minister of Bihar for 7th term this afternoon. Home Minister Amit Shah orders door-to-door survey and doubling of RT-PCR tests to contain coronavirus in Delhi. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.09% in the country. New Delhi slams Islamabad for anti-India propaganda over incidents in Pakistan. Afghan government releases list of more than 150 Pakistani terrorists killed in Helmand and Kandahar provinces. And Novak Djokovic equals Pete Sampras's record of 6 year-end number 1 trophies. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin the bulletin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing. Focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will unveil Statue of Peace to mark the 151st birth anniversary celebrations of Jain Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh Sureshwarji Maharaj today through video conferencing. The 151-inch tall statue has been made from Ashtadhatu, 8 metals, with copper being the major constituent, and is being installed at Vijay Vallabh Sadhana Kendra, Jetpura in Pali, Rajasthan. Shri Vijay Vallabh Sureshwarji Maharaj led an austere life as a Jain saint, working selflessly and dedicatedly to spread the message of Lord Mahavir. He also worked relentlessly for the welfare of masses, spread of education, eradication of social evils, wrote inspiring literature, and gave active support to the freedom movement and the cause of Swadeshi. With his inspiration, more than 50 educational institutions of eminence, including colleges, schools and study centers, are operational across several states. The statue to be unveiled in his honor has been named as Statue of Peace. Nitish Kumar will be sworn in as Chief Minister of Bihar for the 7th term today. The swearing-in ceremony will take place at 4:30 p.m. at Raj Bhavan. He was unanimously elected leader of the NDA at a meeting of its newly elected MLAs in Patna yesterday. Later, Nitish Kumar and Bihar BJP President Sanjay Jaiswal, among others, met Governor Phagu Chauhan to stake claim to form a new government in the state. The governor was handed over the letter of support from all 4 NDA constituents of BJP, JDU, Hindustani Awam Morcha, HAM and Vikalsheel Insan Party, VIP. More details on this from our correspondent.
The new Council of Ministers in the State Cabinet will be made, and alongside portfolios too will be allotted to the ministers. Nitish Kumar along with BJP and JDU leaders held various meetings and discussed the probable size of the cabinet. The maximum number of ministers in the cabinet permissible in the government is 36, as the size of the Council of Ministers can only be 15% of the total number of seats in the Assembly, which stands at 243. There are chances the JDU having 43 MLAs could get 12 ministerial berths, while BJP having 74 MLAs could get 18 ministerial berths. There will be 1 minister each from NDA allies, Hindustani Awam Morcha and Vikalsheel Insan Party. Various other issues were also discussed among the allies of NDA. With KK Lal's report from Patna, Tanvi Khurana, AIR News.
The NDA secured absolute majority by winning 125 seats in recently held Bihar Assembly elections. BJP MLA from Katihar, Tarkishore Prasad, has been elected leader, and Bethiya MLA Renu Devi as deputy leader of its legislature party.
BJP leader and Union Minister Anurag Thakur has been appointed as election in charge of the party for the local body polls in Jammu and Kashmir. The District Development Council elections will be conducted in Jammu and Kashmir in 8 phases between November the 28th and December the 19th, and the counting of votes will take place on December the 22nd. Home Minister Amit Shah reviewed the prevailing COVID-19 situation in Delhi and medical infrastructure at a high-level meeting in which he directed to increase the RT-PCR test in the national capital by twofold. After holding the meeting yesterday, Mr. Shah, in a series of tweets, said that mobile testing vans of the Ministry of Health and ICMR will be deployed where there is a high risk of COVID-19 infection by maximum use of the capacity of labs in Delhi. He said the capacity of hospitals and availability of other medical infrastructure in Delhi should be increased as well. To 250 to 300 ICU beds will be added in DRDO COVID-19 hospital located in Dholakwa, built in May this year, so that treatment can be provided for serious COVID patients there. Mr. Shah said that the 10,000-bed COVID center in Chhatarpur will be further strengthened with an aim to increase the availability of beds with oxygen facilities. He said some identified hospitals of the MCD will be converted into dedicated hospitals for the treatment of mild COVID-19 patients. Mr. Amit Shah also informed that dedicated multi-department teams will visit all private hospitals in Delhi for the inspection of availability of COVID-19 medical infrastructure, admission of patients and displaying of status of availability of beds as per the earlier decision. He stressed on the need to review all previously established containment measures like marking of containment zones, contact tracing, quarantine and screening in Delhi. He said particularly those who are at a high risk should be constantly monitored. The Union Home Minister said additional doctors from CAPFs and paramedical staff will be airlifted to Delhi in view of shortage of healthcare workers. The Home Minister said directions have been given for protocol to be made for plasma donation and transfusion in the case of serious COVID-19 patients. He said a high-level committee headed by Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul, Director General ICMR and Director AIIMS will submit a report on it soon. Mr. Shah also informed that more oxygen cylinders, high-flow nasal cannula and other necessary equipments will be made available to Delhi government by the central government to save more and more people. We have a report from our correspondent.
During the meeting, Home Minister Amit Shah specifically emphasized the need to keep track of COVID-19 patients who are in home isolation and to ensure that they are shifted to regular hospitals as soon as urgent medical attention is required. It was also decided that house-to-house survey in the entire Delhi will be conducted by the teams of AIIMS, Delhi government and MCD, and thereafter all the symptomatic persons found in the survey would be tested and provided necessary treatment. It was also said that there should be a strong communication strategy to educate people on COVID-19 appropriate behavior and inform them about the negative impact of the disease on long-term medical and health parameters. Mr. Shah also directed the authorities of Delhi government and police commissioner to strictly enforce the necessary measures, especially wearing of face masks. The Home Minister reiterated that there were no gaps in providing timely requisite medical treatment to the affected persons, particularly those who were poor and vulnerable. He informed that the situation of COVID-19 in Delhi, as also in the neighboring areas of the National Capital Region, would be reviewed on a continuous basis over the coming weeks. With Mohammad Naseem Naqvi, Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Talking to AIR, Director AIIMS, Dr. Randeep Guleria said, "We have to continue our fight. The war is still on and we have to take all efforts to take the number down."
We have to really continue our fight against COVID-19. This is not the time to say that the war is over. The war is still on. We have to understand that there are still people who are dying. There are still hospitals which are admitting patients with COVID-19. The recovery rate is good, but that doesn't mean that it's zero mortality. There are people who are still having what we call long COVID, suffering even after recovering from COVID. And therefore, we have to take all efforts to bring the number of cases down, to save lives. And to do that, every person, every citizen has to have a disciplined behavior.
Ministry of Health has said that India continues to have one of the lowest cases of COVID-19 per million population globally. In a tweet, the ministry said that some states and union territories are performing better and reporting even lower cases per million population than the national average. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 93.09%. More than 42,000 COVID patients recovered during the last 24 hours. According to the Health Ministry, the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 82 lakhs. the actual caseload currently comprises only 5.44% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 4,79,000. In the past 24 hours, 41,100 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases to over 88 lakhs. The ministry said that effective implementation of the strategic and graded test, track and treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatalities.
Talking to All India Radio, Dr. Neeraj Gupta of Vardhaman Mahavir Medical College and Safdarjung Hospital has advised the people how to differentiate between coronavirus and any other viral fever.
कोरोना वायरस का जो प्रकोप है, ये इन्फेक्शन है, वो किसी भी वायरल फीवर की भांति ही होता है. थोड़े से इसके लक्षणों में डिफरेंस है. वो डिफरेंस ये है कि इसमें हल्का बुखार हो सकता है, ठंड लग सकती है, थोड़ी खांसी हो सकती है, खांसी अक्सर सूखी होती है और साथ में पेट में दर्द हो सकता है, डायरिया हो सकता है. लेकिन जो अनयूजुअल सिम्टम्स इसके साथ में जो जुड़े हैं वो ये है कि इस पर बहुत ज्यादा थकावट की फीलिंग आती है, कमर में दर्द वगैरह हो सकता है, छाती में दर्द हो सकता है और टेस्ट चेंज हो जाता है. इसके कारण ये पहचाना जा सकता है.
In Tamil Nadu, 1,819 people tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. They include 502 in Chennai. The active caseload has dropped to 16,441. A report from our correspondent.
One of the main reasons for the sustained downward curve of COVID-19 as claimed by the State Health Department is the large number of tests being carried out every day. Since the outbreak of the pandemic, nearly 1.08 crore people have been tested so far. The government says all the tests are being done using the RT-PCR kits, considered the gold standard in the diagnosis for the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The overall positivity rate is estimated to be 7.03%, which of late has come down drastically. The RT-PCR method is said to have more credibility as the false negatives and false positives are less as compared to most other procedures. Jai Singh, AER News, Chennai.
Gujarat recorded 1,070 new cases during the last 24 hours. Recovery rate remained above 91%. 1,71,932 patients have recovered in the state till now. 1,001 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. More than 68,37,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Maximum 219 new cases were reported from Ahmedabad, while Surat recorded 187 new cases.
The COVID-19 numbers continue to decline in Karnataka for the last 14 days. The state reported 1,565 new cases, out of which Bengaluru contributed 840 fresh cases yesterday. However, Bengaluru Rural reported the lowest with only 14 new cases, which is a 72% drop over a 24-hour period. Tumkur reported 79 new cases, Mysuru 71 cases, Chitradurga 52 cases, Belagavi 47 cases, Mandya 46 cases and Uttar Kannada 45 cases. In Maharashtra, all religious places and places of worship are opening from today. Some famous temples like Sai Baba Temple at Shirdi, Vitthal Mandir of Pandharpur, Tulja Bhavani Temple in Tuljapur have opened early in this morning following all the SOPs and COVID-19 guidelines, and devotees are queuing up for passes and registration outside these temples. Other places like Mahim Church, Haji Ali Dargah in Mumbai have also made special arrangements to allow devotees to worship. A report on this.
Diwali Padwa is considered one of the auspicious days in Hindu religion, and people in Maharashtra are all set to seek the blessings of deities on this occasion. Devotees from neighboring Karnataka also are seen outside famous Tulja Bhavani temple to collect the passes for darshan. Similar arrangements have been made at Vitthal Mandir of Pandharpur, Sai Baba temple of Shirdi, Dagdushet Halwai temple in Pune. In Pandharpur, only 100 devotees are allowed per hour. At 6 am, first devotee entered the temple. Siddhivinayak Mandir has made the provision of QR code, and devotees are allowed to visit the temple after thermal scanning and mandatory face mask. Although the devotees are not allowed to enter the Garbhagruha or touch the idol or statues or holy books, and they are allowed to seek the blessings from a safe distance in the temples. Mahim Church and Haji Ali Dargah is also said to allow the devotees from today. Shailesh Patil, AIR News, Mumbai.
25 persons have been arrested in the last 4 days for issuance of fake invoices. Sources in the Directorate General of GST Intelligence, DGGI, said the actual amount of fake input tax credit ITC involved is being ascertained. It said such an investigation are on to identify and apprehend the other persons who were involved in the racket and also the beneficiaries who have used fake invoices to evade GST, income tax and do money laundering. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to unveil Statue of Peace to mark the 151st birth anniversary celebrations of Jainacharya Sri Vijay Vallabh Surishwarji Maharaj today. Nitish Kumar to be sworn in as the Chief Minister of Bihar for the 7th term this afternoon. Home Minister Amit Shah orders door-to-door survey and doubling of RT-PCR tests to contain coronavirus in Delhi. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.09% in the country. New Delhi slams Islamabad for anti-India propaganda over incidents in Pakistan. Afghan government releases list of more than 150 Pakistani terrorists killed in Helmand and Kandahar provinces. And Novak Djokovic equals Pete Sampras's record of 6-year and #1 trophies. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
News Services Division of All India Radio brings to you program Employment News in association with the Publications Division, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. An effective platform for information on job vacancies, training programs, admission notices, results and career advice with experts. Every day at 4:20 p.m. on FM Gold and other frequencies and on our YouTube channel AIR News Official.
The government has said that nearly 24 lakh paddy farmers have been benefited from the ongoing Kharif marketing season procurement operations with MSP outflow of over 52,781 crore rupees. Agriculture Ministry in a statement said that paddy procurement for Kharif 2020-21 is continuing smoothly in the procuring states of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh. Today is International Day for Tolerance. The day recognizes the universal human rights and fundamental freedoms of others. It gives the message that people are naturally diverse. Only tolerance can ensure the survival of mixed communities in every region of the globe. In an exclusive interview with All India Radio News, head of the UNESCO New Delhi office, Eric Falk, said that education is key to fight intolerance.
As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said on the occasion of this day, people are not born to hate. Intolerance is learned and can be unlearned. So my message today is that education is the key to fight intolerance.
Ministry of External Affairs MEA has slammed Islamabad over allegation of New Delhi's involvement in incidents in Pakistan. It said claims of proof against India have no credibility and are fabricated and represent figment of imagination. In response to media queries, MEA spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said that the international community is well aware of Pakistan's tactics and proof of its terror sponsorship. He said it is yet another futile anti-India propaganda exercise by Pakistan, whose forces continue to engage in providing supporting cover fire to the infiltrators. The MEA also called upon Pakistan to end its support to cross-border terrorism and said that Pakistani leaders have never hidden the fact that it has become a factory for producing terrorists. The MEA said that the incessant infiltration of terrorists and induction of weapons to fuel terror activities continues unabated. Such activities are not possible without the support of Pakistani forces deployed along the line of control. The MEA statement also said that India is not only the neighbor being targeted by Pakistan-sponsored terrorists, distant parts of the world have seen the terror trail lead back to Pakistan. More than 150 Pakistani terrorists operating in Afghanistan were killed in operations conducted by the Afghan forces in Helmand and Kandahar provinces. Afghan Interior Ministry has released a list of Taliban terrorists killed in the recent clashes with Afghan forces. At least 55 Taliban commanders have been killed in Helmand and Kandahar provinces in Afghan forces operations in response to their attacks. 152 Pakistani terrorists were also killed in Helmand. According to a report by the UN Security Council, around 6,500 Pakistani terrorists are operating in Afghanistan, most of them belonging to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan.
Back home, Gujarat is celebrating its New Year today. The people are exchanging New Year wishes on the first day of Bikram Samvat 2077. Governor Acharya Devvrat and Chief Minister Vijay Rupani have greeted the people on the occasion. More on this from our correspondent.
The first day of Vikram Samvat is being celebrated as a Gujarati New Year. After the subdued festivities of Deepavali due to coronavirus pandemic, the people of Gujarat have been wishing each other Saal Mubarak either through Namaste or mostly through electronic mode. Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has cancelled today's public Sneh Milan program due to coronavirus pandemic. People have made colorful rangolis in front of their homes. Some of the rangolis have beautifully portrayed different social messages, including the fight against coronavirus. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Bhai Dooj, the festival celebrating the special bond between brothers and sisters, is being celebrated today. On this day, sisters pray for their brothers to have long and happy life by performing Tika ceremony, and brothers offer gifts to their sisters. The festival is also celebrated as Bhaubij, Batra Dwitya, Ningol Chakuba and Bhai Tika in different parts of the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended his best wishes to the people on the occasion of Bhai Dooj.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the death of Professor Ravindra Nagar. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he contributed significantly in promoting and popularizing Sanskrit language. Mr. Modi conveyed his condolences to the family and fans of Ravindra Nagar at this moment of grief. Tennis star Novak Djokovic has equalled Pete Sampras's record of winning 6 year-end number 1 trophies. The Serbian player achieved the feat as he was given the ATP Tour number 1 trophy yesterday for finishing as the year-end number 1. With this, Djokovic has become only the second player in tennis history to do it 6 times. Before this, Djokovic had finished as world number 1 in 2011, 2012, 2014, 2015 and in 2018. Among past players, only Pete Sampras has managed to finish 6 years on top of the rankings, which he did between 1993 and 1998. Light to moderate rain is expected in many parts of the country today. As per the India Meteorological Department, Jammu, Chandigarh, Mussoorie, Kullu, Shimla, Haridwar and Nainital may witness light to moderate rain today. Meanwhile, light snowfall may be recorded in places like Baramulla, Srinagar, Badrinath and Leh. Earlier yesterday, the Weather Department had forecast rain for many parts of North India, including National Capital Region with thunder showers and lightning. According to the IMD, the northern plains witnessed rain due to the western disturbances. The heightened wind speed due to the western disturbances has helped subside air pollution in many regions. In Delhi, a light spell of rain last evening improved the air quality to unhealthy to very unhealthy category today from severe category recorded yesterday. According to the IMD, the temperature in national capital could fall below the 10-degree mark by November 18th due to the rains. In Himachal Pradesh, fresh snowfall is being experienced at high altitude areas since last night, whereas several areas in middle and low hills, including state capital Shimla, witnessed rain. Snowfall and rain have lowered the temperature in the state. Light snowfall was experienced in higher reaches of Lahaul Spiti, Kinnaur, Chamba, Kullu and Kangra districts. Meteorological Department has forecast rain at many places of middle hills, while snowfall at high peaks during the next 24 hours.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital will witness fog or mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The minimum temperature was 12 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 26 degrees. In Mumbai, the sky will be clear. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 22 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 35 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky. With moderate rain, the temperatures will hover between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have mainly clear sky, with temperature varying between 21 and 32 degrees Celsius. On to the north now. In Srinagar, light snowfall is expected today. The minimum temperature was 1 degree Celsius, while the maximum will be around 12 degrees. In Jammu, the lower level of temperature was 14 degrees Celsius, while the upper level will be around 22 degrees, with possibility of light rain. In Leh, light snowfall may occur today. Minimum temperature was -1 degree Celsius, while the maximum will be around 12 degrees. Gilgit will also experience rain or snowfall. The temperatures will hover between 6 and 14 degrees Celsius. Thunderstorm with rain is expected in Muzaffarabad. The temperatures will hover between 6 and 15 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 11 and 25 degrees Celsius. The city will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Newly appointed Chief Information Commissioner of India, Yashvardhan Kumar Sinha, yesterday called on Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Dr. Jitendra Singh. During a half-an-hour meeting with the Minister, the Chief Information Commissioner gave a brief about the progressively improving disposal rate of the RTI applications.
And now an overview of today's newspapers, recognizing that the capital is in the grip of an unprecedented wave of infection. Delhi in battle mode to rein in COVID wave, writes the Hindustan Times. Doubling the number of tests, more ICU beds among steps announced in a high-level meeting held yesterday. With the flouting of the ban in the NCR on use of firecrackers, worst air quality on Deepavali in 4 years, states the Hindu. In the wake of the Congress's poor showing in the recent Bihar Assembly elections, Sibal says leadership not taking up issues. Polls show Congress is not the choice of people, writes the Indian Express, paying tribute to the late Soumitra Chatterjee, actor, theatre person, writer, poet and much more. The pioneer writes, a beautiful mind no more. It's overhaul time, with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs working towards decriminalizing provisions of the Limited Liability Partnership LLP, informs Business Standard, and with attending to the calls of duty against all odds, the Times of India covers the story of 27-year-old Relu Vasave, who rows 18 kilometers daily to shore up tribal kids' health. And finally, with tensions building up over election results in the U.S., Trump men in clashes, fist fights across U.S., confrontations erupt with pro-Biden crowds in Washington, D.C., other major cities, notes the Asian Age.
And in some more news, the ruling National League for Democracy, NLD, has won a majority in the general elections of Myanmar, which took place on November the 8th. The Union Election Commission, UEC of Myanmar, made the formal announcement through its official list of winning candidates yesterday. The NLD secured 396 Union parliamentary seats, improving upon its 2015 tally of 390 seats. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to unveil Statue of Peace to mark 151st birth anniversary celebrations of Jain Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh Sureshri Ji Maharaj today. Nitish Kumar to be sworn in as Chief Minister of Bihar for 7th term this afternoon. Home Minister Amit Shah orders door-to-door survey and doubling of RT-PCR tests to contain coronavirus in Delhi. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.09% in the country. New Delhi slams Islamabad for anti-India propaganda over incidents in Pakistan. Afghan government releases list of more than 150 Pakistani terrorists killed in Helmand and Kandahar provinces. And Novak Djokovic equals Pete Sampras's record of 6 year-end #1 trophies. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.